hear live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to this beautiful Tuesday here in the Bay Area, downtown San Francisco right now. And usually, Tuesdays, worst day of the week, right? Mondays, you got whatever you got to react to over the sports weekend. It's fun. Something usually happened either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And you get to see all your coworkers, some of which you like to see, some of which, whatever. But I missed my guy, Sam Loveman. So yesterday, it was a treat to see him. Now, I get to see, potentially, tentatively, I get to see a whole lot of you at Fieldwork Brewing Co. in San Ramon today. Yeah, we got the Red and Gold Summit. Come on, where's my applause at? Where's my applause button at 5:01 a.m. here in San Francisco? There it is. Thank you. I needed it. And I'm going to need to see all of you there today, too. We got Willard and Dibbs starting from 2 to 4 there. We got the summit itself. Joe Shasky, Bonte Hill, Mark Willard, Dan Dibley, Matt Steinmetz, and Daryl the Guru Johnson from 4 to 6. So I want to see you out there early. I want to see you out there late. I don't care if it's a Tuesday. Hey, I'm going to make the effort to get out there. I'm not going to hang around too long because, yes, I also have work, but my wake-up time is 3:30. Struggling this morning, but we're working through it. You know who didn't struggle last night, as I segue over to actual sports talk, at 888-957-9570. That's the number to call in or text the Xfinity mobile text line. Twitch and YouTube as well is up and running, so like, subscribe, ring the bell. That's what Sam wants me to say. And it's powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And always, you can download that Odyssey app. Take us wherever you need to go. Favorite 95.7 in the game for all your Warriors, Niners, and San Francisco Giants updates. And speaking of those San Francisco Giants, Kyle Harrison. More round of applause. I mean, are you kidding me? For a home debut like that, 6 1/3, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 11 Ks, 2 walks. It was the 11 Ks, though. Those strikeouts. Filthy. And that's what we've been waiting to see all year long. Was that the most enjoyable win of the season for the Giants? It certainly felt like it. It felt like a shot in the arm, something they've desperately needed. The team feels old and laboring, and that was just a shot of youthful exuberance yesterday at Oracle Park. I want to know and hear from people that were at the game. 888-957-9570. Did you feel it? Was there an energy there? Because you could feel it through the highlights, through the TV. I felt it. It was fun. And that's a word that is not synonymous with the Giants this year. We were talking about it early. Yeah, this team just feels fun. Shasky will join me for the crossover around 5:45. He used that term early on in the season, but it quickly faded away. It was no longer fun. I don't think you would categorize the month of August as fun for the San Francisco Giants. But yesterday, for at least that day, it was. So 888-957-9570. That is the number. As my headphones sound super hollow, but it's probably because this quarter jack, if you're watching me on Twitch and YouTube, is all janky. But I'll fix that. We got time. We got nothing but time. Much better here on the Pregame Show. And if you would like to get involved, again, the number 888-957-9570. Camilo Duvall gets another save. Yada, yada, yada. You got Paul DeYoung. It's not DeYoung. Is it DeYoung? Like the DeYoung Museum? I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, the guy was a Cardinal forever. I think it's DeYoung. Potato. I know it's Josh Young for the Rangers which is Jung, but this is Jong. Just striving for excellence here. He got an RBI, K 3 times. JD Davis, couple hits. Estrada, another hit. Meckler, good to see him having a little bit of success. That guy had a rough going out in Philadelphia. It is good to see him kind of picking it up. He's about 294, 415 OBP. Yeah, you know me. So play the young guys. Sam Lubman, host of Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys, along with Joe Shasky. He was hitting the group thread yesterday. He's like, I don't need to see, the Confortos, the Jock Petersons, Haniger, if he ever even comes back. Is this Haniger ever coming back, Sam Lubman? Yeah, we'll get confirmed or denied there. He's locked in with his man bun. But I agree. I mean, I felt that sentiment all year long. If the goal of this season was not only to make the playoffs or try to make the playoffs, try to do that with all the young guys. And they did call a lot of them, to their credit. Casey Schmidt, he came up. Got another walk yesterday. Still under 200 batting average. But we won't talk about that. Matos, 3 Ks, but clutch fielding there. Patrick Bailey. You want to lump in Estrada in there. But guys that are called up, you've seen a lot from them. You have an established closer now in Camilo Doval. You feel like you have a guy in Patrick Bailey at catcher. At least that's what it feels like. And maybe, just maybe, Kyle Harrison can add on to that. Maybe, just maybe. 888-957-9570. That is the number. Good morning to all of you on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. EJ Gomez, Sideshow Bob, Dublin Marge. I am the Bay. The Donut Man 415. Oh, missed you, Donut Man. You've been around a while. Damon Chang, appreciate you. Town Business. You know what it is if you're on the stream. Oakland 316. Just said I whooped your ass. Shout out Stone Cold Steve Austin. Got this at SmackDown like 6 or 7 years ago at former Oracle Arena out there in Oakland. That actually wasn't a great show, but the shirt, it's elite. My family, good morning. Who's going out to the Red and Gold Summit today? We're going to be discussing it all day right here on 95.7 The Game. Fieldwork Brewing Co. out in San Ramon. Who's going to be there? Going to try my best. Work out there. We'll see. I called the mechanic yesterday. I guess my mechanic's closed on Monday, is what it is. So we shall see. Getting back to, not the Giants, and we'll continue to take your calls and texts on the Giants, but a little update on what's going on with Nick Bosa. Yeah, he's the last piece of the puzzle. Where a lot of Trey Lance talk yesterday. He's gone. He's in Dallas. At this point, and they'll get into a lot of it today at the Red and Gold Summit, I am sure, because it's the Red and Gold Summit, and Trey Lance is what James Watson was to the Warriors last year. Sports Talk Radio Gold. But the real big story as it pertains to the San Francisco Niners is not Trey Lance at this point. It's Nick Bosa, the best defensive player in the league. And Ian Rappaport, my guy Rap Sheet, joined Pat McAfee's show yesterday, I think for the final time. He usually does it every single day, but he's launching his own show on with the NFL Network and NFL Plus app. But Ian Rappaport joined Pat McAfee yesterday and talked about where contract talks are with Bosa and the 49ers. Take a listen.
They're not there yet, and I don't get the sense they're close at all, so I don't get the sense anything is imminent. But at least they're, it sounds like there's been some level of conversation, I guess, which is, as there should be. It's like there's been at least some touching base. And I know this probably doesn't make anyone feel better, but like there still is a lot of time. I mean, Bosa, I'm sure, keeps himself in unbelievable shape. I don't think he's going to need a lot of like acclimation period, So even if he shows up, 5 days from now, like I'm sure he'll be ready for the season. He's going to make a lot of money. I feel very confident that if he signs a deal, he's going to be the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL.
So I'm hearing I have an echo with this one. Don't know why that is, but we may or may not move over to another machine here. This one always gives me problems. This one, I already broke the mic cover, but I'll switch over and see if that helps. More from Ian Rappaport talking about how much Bosa will command.
How high does he get? Does he get Aaron Donald? Does he get highest paid non-QB? Like, what does he get? And I think that's more of the question than like, are the 49ers going to pay him? Like, their offer is substantial. and there's been, I know, kind of back and forth. It's going to make a lot of money. It's really just a question of how high and when, Nick Bosa and his agent go, all right, like, this is proper.
Ian Rappaport there for NFL Network and the Pat McAfee Show, as I am. We're workshopping this early here on the pregame show as it pertains to my mic. Hopefully that's better. We shall see. You might keep it on and up right now. I don't even think it is. Okay.
Thanks to the Xfinity 10G network, my little brother's friends won't leave our house. When I was their age, internet with basically no interruptions was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Now there's...
That's live radio, folks. I'm getting the thumbs up for my guy Sam Loveman. I'm still hearing it in my ear, though, too, the echo. But it's 5:16 a.m. here. I can shift over. And I'll do that. Sam's going to fade me out here. And again, this is live radio. It's what we do. We're workshopping stuff here on the pregame show. I'm going to shift over to the co-host too, see if that helps. Because Bonte and Shask are going to be here in circa, 43 minutes. So we got to figure it out. In the meantime, Kyle Shanahan, he spoke to the media just the other day. And he had some great stuff to say in regards to Trey Lance, that whole trade, how it went down. So we're going to play that, figure it out. We'll be back. Don't worry. We'll have more sports talk. But Kyle Shanahan Friday after the game discussing Trey Lance getting traded. Take a listen.
You talk about just the logic of getting rid of Trey for a fourth-round pick. Like, why was that a good move for the organization?
Well, we decided on our two we're going to be that we were going with. We'll see how our 53 works out to see if we're going to keep three or not. And when we told Trey, when we told him that he wasn't the two, I said we'd like to keep him here as the three. But we also want to do what's good for him too. And we'll see how this plays out. Now, when we looked at other teams and he told us that he would like another opportunity to go somewhere where we had a chance to be the two, we thought we got some good deals for him. There was a number of teams involved. To end up getting in the fourth was a little better than we anticipated and clears up a lot of money and allows a better situation for him too.
Did he request the trade, and was it a situation where it was unrepairable to the point where if he wasn't traded, you would have had to release him?
No, it was never unprepared. What did you call it? We could always fit. I mean, we were good. Like Trey, actually had a great conversation with him today. Had a tough conversation when I told him he didn't win the second job. Today was much easier, just going through it for the last couple of days with him. But no, there was nothing to fix. It was what it was. And I told him when we told him that he was going to be the three. If he could find another opportunity that was good, we'd allow him to do that. And he did. And we feel he'll be better for it, and I think we will too.
Why did you end the quarterback competition before the third preseason?
Because I knew it. I thought it would take longer. I wanted to go through this game, but I knew it. And I think a lot of guys knew it. And I think he had an idea. It was more about my relationship with Trey that, I'm in meetings with him every day and stuff. I'm on the field with him every day. And I could get a sense that he was starting to feel that we felt that way. And it was the truth, and I don't want to BS him. So once we knew, and once I could tell he knew that we knew, I remember the night before, I realized, I'm going to come in the morning and tell him. I don't want that between us. So I did. Didn't expect it to get out right away, but it did. But that was something I thought I owed to Trey, and I told Trey right before a team meeting that we had. I didn't get a chance to even tell Sam or anyone else on the team. That was just a personal thing between Trey and I, and it obviously got out, but that's why I thought it was important to tell him.
You on Wednesday, you didn't tell us. Did you want to tell the players first? What was your reason?
You're listening to the...
No, my reasoning was, I would love to tell the players first. I'd love to tell Sam first. We were hoping that Trey was going to come to practice still, and I totally understood why he didn't. He asked if he could have it off because, he was a little emotional and stuff. Didn't want to be around the players like that, and totally understood that. But we're still hoping he would come. And then by the time he didn't, wasn't going to have a meeting on the field to tell the players who we announced as a second string guy. And I had not to mention practice ended at 1:43 and I had a radio show at 1:45. And so I got on a radio show and I talked about it for 20 minutes there. And that's what I felt good with because I thought if I talked about it there, you guys would get that information. Unfortunately, I found out that radio show was delayed because of a baseball game. They went into extra innings, so you guys didn't find out till 4:30. So if I would have had it over, I would have told you guys right away. But usually when I do a radio show, you guys get that stuff pretty fast. So I thought you guys had it, and I realized that you didn't until about 4:30.
Team today.
When you signed Darnold, did you tell Trey this could be the backup? Was it clear to him? And if it was, what was his reaction even back then?
I told Trey the same thing I told you guys. Brock since day one. So, I mean, it's been everything we've told you guys, we've told him. We said if Brock was healthy, it was going to be hard for anyone to beat him out with what he put on tape last year. If he's not healthy, Sam and Trey were competing for the 1 spot. If he was, we thought they'd be competing for the 2. That's what we said before they got here. That's what they said when they got here, OTAs and training camp, and that's the way it worked out. They had OTAs together. They had all these practices, and Sam won that competition.
What did Sam show you during the practices and during camp to make you and the staff feel that he was the better choice?
Just everything, the whole body of work. He got better as it went. I thought it was tight for a little bit, and just over the last couple weeks and stuff, started to separate himself each day, and just the more comfortable he got, the more consistent he got. I think it was pretty apparent for all of us.
To clarify, did he request a trade, and which day did that happen, and how was that conveyed to you?
When Trey and I talked, we talked about all the situations going forward, and I told him how much I'd still want him here to be the 3 and things like that. I also told him that what I think is best for Trey. I do think Trey needs an opportunity to play more. The opportunities he's had here, when he has had those 2 opportunities, he's gotten hurt in both of them and kind of missed that window a little bit. Gave an opportunity for someone else to do it, and that person did it and stayed healthy for those 7 games and showed us something that we're confident in. And Trey kind of needs that again, and he didn't get that here. And so I told him that's what I think is best for him if he can find a good opportunity. If he doesn't and he wants to be here, well, we want him here. And Trey took a little bit of time to think about it, but he came back and said he'd like to find another spot if we can. And that's when we started looking into it. His agent, us, and that came to fruition today.
First conversation was Wednesday, and then Thursday he came back and said, I'd rather find
No, the first conversation was Wednesday. About an hour and a half later, he came and told me that he would like that. He'd also like to not have to go out to practice and stuff, just to get his stuff together and think about it. And that's what he did. And the next day he came in and was at our walkthrough, was at our meetings last night. We didn't know if something would happen today. Him and I were communicating about it yesterday, the possibilities of it, told him of some teams that were interested. So I was talking about those options last night, what I thought was best, what he did. And then today, some other teams became interested. And if they wouldn't have, he would have been out at that game and stuff, and we would have tried to go with him as our 3. But some good stuff did come up, and some stuff that I think he's really excited about, especially telling him today. I could tell he was, and some things we are too.
You did give up a lot for him. He's still young. Was this a failure of evaluation, a failure of just circumstance? How would you characterize this move?
I mean, obviously, we took our shot, and it didn't work out. So, I mean, that's on us for that. But I'm not going to say anything as in failure. That'd be too much of a negative towards Trey. I get our deal. We took a shot to go for that. We were hoping that he could be our guy, and that didn't work out. So I understand that from our standpoint, but I still do believe in Trey. And, about 3 years ago, we had the 12th pick in the draft, after that COVID year, but we thought we had a really good team. And we didn't think we'd have a chance again to get close to that top area to take a quarterback in the top 10. And when you have the 12th pick in the draft, we went into it realizing it was a risk, but we thought we weren't going to pick that high again for a couple of years, and we would never have a chance to move from 12 to 3. We tried to move up to a number of spots before that, but 3 was the first one that would do it. We looked into everything between 12 and 3, and we got that, and we took our shot, something we believed in and a person we believed in. Was hoping he could play more his first year. We knew he wouldn't come in and just take it over from Jimmy, but we were hoping to mix it in and kind of give him some experience. But once he broke the finger and stuff, it just got tougher for him as time went. We knew we'd commit to him the next year, which we did. We knew he wasn't fully ready in every aspect, but we knew he had a skill set that we could put some stuff together to give him the chance to compete and grow with the good team as he developed as a full quarterback. And he got hurt in the first quarter of the second game, which kind of set that back. And now we're here in the 3rd year, and we still got a good team, and we thought it would be Trey. I think we got pretty fortunate falling into still having a rookie quarterback in our 3rd year that happened to be the 7th round pick. And we also look back at it as we didn't think with having the 29th pick, which those 2 first round picks ended up being the 29th pick in the draft, which we were expecting it to be late. We were hoping it would be 32 or something like that, but we know with two first round picks that are both at 29, you can never even consider to move up to something like that. And so we had to act then, and we did. Didn't work out, which can be a huge challenge, but so I feel pretty fortunate what we fell into.
Was Trey able to go over the options with you this morning before you accepted the trade, and then how did you convey that to the team?
I just told the team that I told them after the deal, just, anytime you trade a quarterback and things like that, I mean, all those guys are going through some similar stuff. I'm going to have a lot of tough conversations with a lot of guys over these next few days. But I always told them the circumstances are different when it's under this magnitude, a quarterback position, someone who was drafted like him. So I just told them that's up for John and I to decide. I hope they trust us with what's best for the team, but they just got to be prepared for those questions and stuff, which they're not going to know much about.
It's an experience that you wish you had done differently. I always feel like I let Trey down. I mean, I wanted him to come here. I believe in Trey. I believed in him before we took him, and I'm responsible for that. I didn't want to throw him into the heat of battle right away, but I thought he needed to play. So we tried to figure out every way to do that. I mean, if I can look back in hindsight, he broke that finger on a helmet on that 4th preseason game versus the Raiders. I wish I didn't put him in a play that had him break his finger, because I think that really hurt him in his first year. And not only did it hurt him not getting able to mix in much, but it hurt him in the practice time because he had to adjust how he threw and things like that, which I think set him back for his second year. When we went into the second year, we gave him every chance to do it. We were going to make an offense that, to me, gave him the best chance to be successful at that time, which we did do. And when you do that, you hope a guy can stay healthy so he can stay out there long enough. But that didn't last long. It was the first game, and after that, I always felt for him, and we continue to work with him. But sometimes things just don't work out.
Was there an internal struggle about? He's still a young guy. He's 23 years old. He's only halfway through his rookie contract. Did you consider just keeping him here to give him a chance to eventually be the guy that you thought you were getting when you drafted him?
Yeah, we do consider that. I just think that was hard for us to do that with where we're at as a team, how much time we have given him, and the situation here where we gave him every chance to beat out Sam, and it just didn't happen. And when you look at it in that case, there's not much opportunities you can do on that practice field. There's not a developmental league. There's not a whole field on the side where we can get our players just to practice to give him reps. You got to get the 1 ready to go. And when you're not, it's hard enough to get the 2 ready to go. The 3 is usually a guy who never gets a rep till he randomly gets out there. And that wasn't what I felt was right for Trey. And with how much we had done so far, and that wasn't going to be what was right for our team either. I thought it was time to move on for him and for us. And I'm well aware of everything that happened. And yeah, unfortunately it did happen, but I like where our team's at too right now. And I feel very good about that. And I also feel very good that despite all that, you'd love to keep a 3rd guy to develop, especially a guy that you really, really love, and believe that he could do it someday. But to do that for $7 million over 2 years with places where we are in the cap, when you can't provide those reps and stuff for people, and you got other things with our team where we're doing, that to me doesn't make much sense for the Niners. I wish it would, because hell yeah, we'd love to just keep them until eventually it works out. But that clock ran out here, and that's why we had to make a real tough decision, one we didn't enjoy doing, one we didn't want to do. But we try to do what we think's best, and this is what we think's best.
Last one, guys, just came down to the fact that where you guys were as a team didn't align with what Trey needed to get where he was trying to go.
Very much so. I mean, I do think there was a chance. We thought we were aligned as a team to win right away when we did it with him. We knew it would take him time, but we also had to make a decision where we were going to go with our team over a 2-year window. And we felt if we could get a rookie quarterback or a guy in a rookie deal who could help us win, man, we could put a good team around him. And we took a shot with Trey because we believed he could. We knew it would take some time. But in the meantime, we were going to have a pretty good team. And the time that we did give him when he had his ops, he missed those. And those weren't his fault. They weren't our fault. They were just, that's what happens in football. And when you take a risk on someone who does need to develop and does need some of that time, and then he misses that time, and we are where we're at right now, it is kind of what it is. And
I think we are very fortunate that we did find a guy. We still have a rookie quarterback or a guy on a rookie deal that has helped us put together a good team. We do have a guy that we believe can win with on that deal. And we also feel we have a very strong backup. And that's where we're at.
Kyle Shanahan there, again, discussing, Trey, why'd he leave? Well, it just didn't work out here. It didn't. And I thought he handled that with great poise, great, he struck the right tone, him and John Lynch, and it was important in the end. So, Kyle Shanahan, once again, hearing and talking to the media. And now, it's time for the real thing. It is time for week 1. It's Brock Purdy's show now. It's been his show. Let's be honest. The Trey Lance era never really began. Brock Purdy, what has he got up his sleeve? That's going to be the ultimate question for the San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to be discussing it at the Red and Gold Summit today at Fieldwork Brewing Co. in San Ramon. Hope to see all of you there, all you P1s, everyone, even if you're not casuals, P1, whatever. It's going to be a good time. It's rare you get all the hosts together. And it's going to be fun. It'll be spicy. It'll be fiery. It'll be hot, too, so dressed accordingly. It'll be toasty in the East Bay today. It was toasty yesterday. It's going to be like the 90s tomorrow. Ugh. But it'll be pleasant, more pleasant today. Not quite in Pleasanton, but in San Ramon, again, Fieldwork Brewing Company. Want to see all of you there for the Red and Gold Summit. Hit us up if you're going at 888-957-9570. Stream us, like us, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union, and download that Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game. All right. So, from Kyle Shanahan to the crossover yesterday, which features Mark Willard, Dan Dibley, Matt Steinmetz, and Daryl the Guru Johnson. Take a listen.
I'm going to give you guys some love. I'm being real. You guys broke the news of Trey Lance. The boss retweeted it because I didn't see it in real time.
Yeah.
We did the show out there. You guys nailed that. Great job, man. That was good radio.
Did you listen on the Odyssey app after?
No, I went to the dice table immediately.
Well, but then how do you know they did a great job?
The video, yeah. He put out the video.
They put out the video.
Nahigian tweeted it out.
I was in the middle of a Trey Lance can still work here rant.
Right.
And I was like,
I
mean, I was going into my whole like,
and I'm like,
they were talking about it too, Scotty. Then it was like, hold on.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a it can still work rant, which if you listen to Kyle Shanahan and stuff, and you've played it twice and stuff, and I actually listened back to it a third time just to make sure that I had it right. Kyle and I are of the same mind, but as I'm doing this thing, Grandy plays the breaking news sounder, and I look at Mark, and Mark goes,
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's
gone.
He's gone.
Dude,
Audible.
So the
breaking, you gotta watch
and you guys know when the breaking news sounder goes, it could be anything.
Clock.
In this moment, I like the breaking news sounder goes, I look at Mark, exactly. And Mark looks at me, and he didn't even have to mouth it. He was like pointing like.
You did.
And Mark was
I don't know if I was pointing east. I was pointing south. Which is true. That's all. It's also south. It's south and it's east.
Those are my teammates.
Listen,
that was great, man.
And we didn't. Obviously,
that was my quarterback.
We didn't break the news. We Adam Schefter broke the news.
Whatever.
And that'll resonate in my ear. Like I love kind of telling. One of the fun things about that video is I think it's cool maybe for listeners to see what that looks like in real time.
It's about.
And Grandy, all he did, you can see my face. If you want to go back and look at it again,
I watched it 4 times.
Watch it prior to us announcing while you're talking.
Yeah.
And what happens to my face
is rare.
Grandy goes, it really, I mean, the chances. So Grandy, all he says, he goes, click, he goes, Schefter. And that's all he said in my ear. So you see me go to pull up Twitter, and my face went like I just grabbed my cheeks where he was just like, "What?" And then it's like, and that's one of my questions today. The more because we got to sit there for an hour and a half and talk about it and take calls and break it down. And I get to the weekend and I'm like, Dallas.
He's no closer to playing than he was here.
That's my big question. And Clarence Hill will jump on with us in a couple hours. Like, I know we're looking at this from the 49er angle, but why, if you're one of the people who was like, okay, fresh start for Trey, is it? This is a weird place for him to go.
Yeah. Or was his ego, and not in a bad way, he just couldn't. I was a starter last September, and I've fallen all the way off to the third, and now it's Darnold, who I don't think 49er fans, they just hate the name Darnold and what he's been other places, and I think they get mad. But I think Lance was like, Are you better being a third in Dallas than you were here where quarterbacks get hurt?
But that makes it sound like he had a say in this, which I don't think that he did. I don't think Trey's agent put this together by any stretch. If I'm Trey, I would have loved to have been to Tampa. I would have loved to have gone to Vegas. I would have loved to have gone
did they want you?
I don't know. The only report we heard of another team that was in maybe the ballpark of Dallas was Buffalo, which is also, maybe you could be two there. I don't even know who the two is. Isn't Barkley the three?
Peterman? I don't know.
I don't even know who Josh Allen's backup is. But whatever it is, like this, I feel like Jerry Jones is playing around with Trey Lance. I think he's trying to send a message to Dak.
Oh, there's no doubt that way. And Mike McCarthy.
And I think he likes it when people are talking about the Dallas Cowboys. And he probably noticed that the 49ers were the lead story for the last month. And he would like to be the lead story. I think that's the way Jerry's mind operates. None of these things are good for Trey.
This week.
Willard, I'll tell you what.
Somewhere between Jerry and Ronald Reagan.
I also
totally, dude.
If Jerry and Ronald had a baby, we call him Guru.
I also don't think the 49ers basically, this will sound harsh, I don't think they think Trey's going to be any good.
Oh, my God.
We were talking about that in the green
How can
room.
you trade him to the Cowboys then?
Well, there you go.
That's
there it is, man.
I mean,
who can argue with that?
If you're fearful that he's going to be great,
come on.
That's the last place you'd send him. That's true.
And is there anybody in this room, Dibs, that would bet on Trey? If he were a dice table on the come, you think he's gonna
bet on him to do what?
Ball out and be what Kyle drafted him.
Trey's
like be a star?
When you roll the point and the point's a 10, he's a 10 or he's a 4 on the point. You might hit that point, but more often than not, you won't.
And that's why I asked Donnie Friday, when does Trey really? How many times do athletes change this narrative? Like Trey end up being a Pro Bowler or Kirk Cousins? I think it's highly doubtful.
This is why, if I were him, I would hate where I'm going, because what have we all said now for the better part of a month, if not longer, which is if you're a big Trey fan you're a believer, what you're saying right now is, well, he needs to play. Well, he's not going to play there.
He's not going to
even get practice time.
I keep going to Peter King in the 5 years out of the league.
At minimum, the guy needs reps. You don't get that out of the QB3 spot, no matter what team you're on.
Man.
You don't get a lot.
The only thing I could think of is Dak's not locked in long term.
He's got 2 more years on his deal, and he's doing an extension, and has been quiet on the set. You're right. This was a subtle message. Yeah. And then he said he didn't call him. You don't have to call your quarterback. But I believe this was putting Dak on notice, but it ain't on notice because Cooper Rush was 5-1 last year when he filled in. But you still have the promise of a young quarterback. But what bothers me, if I were a Cowboy fan or on the Cowboy staff, I do think Kyle Shanahan's a wizard, making quarterbacks better than they are. If he thinks what Steiny just said, you don't have it. Mike McCarthy and those guys ain't going to bring it out of you. Well, that's where I'm at.
It's not a short play. It's a long play. And I know Dak has 2 more years on his deal, but if you're thinking Trey at that point, by then you would need to pick. No, his deal is up. You would need to pick up his 5th-year option. Which why would you do if all he's done is
Trey
practice?
Wouldn't be any more exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a message to Dak, but I think Trey's being used to send a message to Dak. That's not good for Trey. And maybe you don't care about that if you're a Niner fan. I don't know if you do or if you don't.
Well, it's better for Trey than being here where you're clearly not going to be QB2 and you're sitting as QB3 and maybe you're not going to even be QB3. Kyle said that he wanted him to be QB3, and stuff, but maybe he actually didn't, and so that's why they traded him to Dallas.
Maybe, but if you're in the camp that all the Niner quarterbacks get hurt,
they do.
Well, then I would rather, if I'm Trey, I'd rather be the QB3 in San Francisco than in Dallas,
so that he can run you into the ground again because he doesn't have faith in you to throw the ball. He treats you like a running back.
But he's not running that offense.
Every time you say that, I nod and I put my fist in the air.
Yeah.
But he's not running that offense anymore. They're running. They had Trey run the same offense that Brock and Sam were running. The play calls. Yeah. How many times did Trey did not do one designed run
in the preseason?
Correct.
Right.
Not one.
There were
none
because they're not trying to win games in the preseason.
They're also not trying to get him hurt because they were trying to trade him.
Right.
There
exactly.
There were two things Kyle said that I found interesting. One was he said basically 2 weeks ago was when we started to see separation.
Yep.
And then he also said we gave Trey every chance to beat out Sam Darnold.
No.
Like
he used the word opportunity about 7 times.
Opportunity to beat out.
There's some truth though.
Well, it must have been.
They gave him the starting job last year.
Yeah.
Kyle didn't get him hurt.
And he sent him out there to do the whole.
Didn't either.
I mean, sent him out to play the whole first half in Vegas. And I know a lot of people are like, it's the first time he's played in a long. It's the first time any of them have played in a long time. It's the off season. Nobody had played a live snap at minimum since February, most January, most December. So, yes, it's just a hard reality.
Because Stoney said this last year. Kyle called before the season kicked off, all the vets together, the ones that mattered. We're going to try this youngster. I will pull the plug fast, quick, in a hurry if we all can see that he's not ready. But had he not got hurt, who believes that Trey would have been quarterback, the QB1 week 10? Like, I feel like we were robbed of that or benched.
Nah.
Like, who would bet that he would have got through it and got better? I'm rooting for him, but now I'm thinking that dude might not have made it past week 6.
Well, Kyle played him thinking that he might do that very thing, and that's why they gave him the start, and he said that in the press conference you guys played a couple times. He said, we gave Trey the job thinking that he could grow into becoming a, quote, full quarterback was the expression that he used. And, well, he got hurt in the 5th quarter that he played, and so he never got a chance to develop into being a full quarterback. But what Kyle's telling you is he didn't believe that Trey could be a full quarterback when they started him, but they thought that he could play his way into that. And in the meantime, they thought they could win by doing the things they were doing, and then he got hurt, and so the whole thing was a wrap.
Saran.
Thank you. It's a 4. I love Saran.
And at least my take is that going into camp last year, there was maybe even the development through the process of camp that they were looking for that they didn't see, and that's why 12 days before the season, Jimmy Garoppolo ended up on the roster. I mean, that's they were so. It does feel like what you're saying. There's no way to know what would have happened if Trey Lance had played more games. But it felt like everybody was readying themselves to bench him sooner rather than later if it didn't pop quick.
And think about this year, what Kyle said in the press conference where they asked him, why didn't you wait for after the 3rd preseason game? And he said, I knew.
Right.
I already knew. Kyle didn't know based on like 3 weeks of preseason this year. He knew going into this year, which is why they signed Sam. Yeah. He knew that Trey had a chance to be better than Sam, but odds are Sam was going to win that battle, and they were close and stuff. And it was neck and neck and stuff.
Why
and
you
then
said Sam is an agent? Why would they?
Why would they say yes? Why would they say yes? Wow. And maybe they were close, or maybe they're saying that because Kruger asked him after the game on Friday night.
Our guy.
When and how did you you mentioned that Sam separated himself. Remember he said about 10 days ago he separated himself. He goes, what did you see? How did you come to that conclusion? And I'll just paraphrase, but Kyle was like, everything.
That was that.
Like it was this, it was that.
We said it, checked all the boxes.
And he goes, and it was clear to everyone involved.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that tells me that if it was close at one point, it wasn't in the end. And I know that's hard for some fans because you get like a quarter of play with second and third stringers in preseason games and go, hey, and you get practice reports where you're like, well, wait, he was 5 of 8 and he was 6 of 8. Like, how's that all different? But look, they're all there and they're seeing everything. And his statement was everybody involved saw that it was as clear as day, and then they sent him to their rival. So, it's tough. I think we get pinned in this with our job, which is sometimes, like we're often giving our opinion, but sometimes.
Speaking of which, it's two.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we're just processing what we think the team thinks.
Hello, right?
Like that's what I've been trying to. I've been trying to sit on that branch for most of the year, and I know that that frustrates people because maybe you think that's what we're saying. I think what the 49ers have thought on this has been like crystal clear for a year.
I do think it's the kind of thing, though, Mark, where now that things have happened like they've happened, it proves a lot of what we thought. Some of the things we thought were right. I think. Like once they got Trey in here, they were like, uh-oh.
You kept saying practice, Goo. They're seeing something in practice. I'm like fighting them. No, stop it.
Well,
they were.
Like, there's this kind of stuff that I don't think most fans know. And you can totally blame it on injury. But when Trey Lance, when the finger injury happened, and this is training. No. Training camp. Yeah, training camp 1. Okay. And he's heading up the practice squad. There was a period of most of a week where it was an interception on almost every play. Like and he was hurt. So you can explain it away. But I wonder through everything that has taken place, because we've heard whispers of this, even some of our callers, I know this guy who knows this guy. There are a lot of whispers that Trey's confidence really got shot and never came back. And if that's the case, I mean, who wouldn't understand that? But with this journey he's been on, I don't blame him on that.
Yeah, which is why when he gets announced as QB3, when Kyle talked to him and he says, then Trey Lance got emotional. Of course he got emotional. He was number 3 overall in the draft, and now you're QB3 in year 3. Take the day off, young man.
And I'm going Atco because I want to put it right on the table.
Do it.
You guys got me thinking now. The Niners didn't want to ship him or not give him the number 3 quarterback role. I would tell Trey if he were right next to me, Trey, I've been your biggest supporter. You never once I know you won the Texan game. You're okay. You never once shown promise on tape or in a meaningful game. How could you, and here I go, the rat, how could you let your ego or how could you get emotional on something I now from afar feel like you should have saw coming? And you could have said, you know what, Goo, you're right. I didn't put my best foot forward. I got hurt. But to go get me out of here, what were you emotional about, Dibs? And you just like this.
I think we got to be careful that we're putting labels on the emotions when they say it was.
But they said he was emotional.
But that doesn't mean ego. That doesn't mean, hey, Niners, get me out of here. He was upset. Like that could mean.
So you don't think if he said, "I'll take the number 3 and I'm gonna get better," he would have remained on his team? Because listening to Kyle,
I don't know
it was like he was emotional. And then it was like, give me somewhere else.
It's not his choice.
You're nowhere near better.
Yeah, it's not.
In location.
It's not his choice, and the Niners had been trying to trade him all off season. So I think that, I would only be imagining what kind of emotion came out.
Right.
Is he angry? Is he crying? Is he just
all of it?
Is he despondent? Like I don't know what those emotions were. I never got the sense that he was like demanding something. Pelissero came on with us that day and said, this is not a bleep you situation between the two sides.
No, but Kyle did say that Trey came back to him the next day on Thursday and said, I want you to trade me, basically. I want to be elsewhere. Kyle said that, after he told him and stuff, he had about an hour and a half, and then, Trey went home, and then the next day, Trey slept on it and came back and said, I do want to be elsewhere.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Of course.
There's no path to play.
Right.
But that's why this is such a weird trade.
But he's got the similar path to play in Dallas.
Yeah,
so that's
but you got a quarterback coming off of UCL and Sam Darnold who could stink it up.
See,
but you have a head coach who doesn't believe in you.
That's true.
That might be the core.
And Trey knows that.
Yes.
Trey knows that. You know who else knew it? Jimmy Garoppolo knew it.
Right. Wow. And Sam Darnold knows that, which is why he signed there. And Brandon Allen knows that.
No, but Sam Darnold, wait, are we
Sam
misunderstanding?
Darnold knows that Kyle Shanahan doesn't believe in Trey Lance.
Oh,
That's
I
what I'm
thought you
saying.
meant Sam thought he didn't believe in him.
Right.
No.
No, he
You're
does
right.
believe in
he's
Sam.
him.
No, you're right on
He
that.
believes in Brandon Allen.
I believe
He
that
does.
Sam also, and Brandon knows that Kyle.
No.
I think they all know how they feel about Trey Lance.
But Brandon's reps got pulled, so I'm thinking, okay,
Well,
worst case scenario, speaking for Trey, he'll be okay with the third. But like Snotty said, he knew his coach didn't believe
Well,
him.
something was weird about Brandon Allen from the beginning. Like, why? I mean, he said more nice things about Brandon Allen coming out of OTAs than any of the
7 years in the
QBs,
league, right?
And so that
2-7.
that one has always, again, if you want, and I won't call this conspiracy, but if you want to read between the lines, that one has always been weird also, which is A, he spoke so glowingly about Brandon coming out of OTAs, and B, you're think of this now. You start camp, you've got a QB1 who's trying to work back from injury, you've got a fierce supposed QB2 battle where you really want to evaluate.
One of the dudes used to be QB1.
And you're tossing like a significant amount of reps to QB4. Why?
Well,
Why?
he
We're
looks-
preparing for this the whole time.
I ain't
is
laughing
my
at you,
answer.
Trey.
See,
right?
I mean, if all things
Damn.
were equal and Trey Lance had all the decision making, objectively, I would look at the 49ers and say, well, Brock was a 7th round pick and got hurt last year. And this guy, Sam Darnold's been in the league 5 years and has never really established himself. I actually do want to stay here because I think this is. I bet you had a better opportunity to play here than in Dallas.
There's
in a
no
way.
doubt.
But he didn't because Kyle.
Yeah.
He knew Kyle didn't
knows.
want to play
Yeah.
him.
That's amazing,
And maybe he
That's
knew he
heavy.
would have gone to Brandon Allen even before him.
Right, and that's what we
Deep,
talked about
man.
last week. And I did my whole soliloquy is this guy's like waving and pointing, like he's gone, he's
Will,
gone.
that was good
I'm
stuff,
doing my
man.
whole thing about
you were into it,
dude.
too.
I was going deep for the
I had
first
no
time.
idea what
First
was
time
about
I
to
got like
happen.
60 seconds, unmitigated,
That's
no
why I was like,
interruption.
hit the music.
I was starting to
Just
stretch
hit
out my
something.
tape.
Yeah. Wrap it up.
I'm like, you know
Crying
what,
out
Mark?
loud.
I actually see the breaking news.
Dibs is so
And
long-winded.
I'm watching Dibs talk like he don't
Dude.
even know. When you watch it again, he's about to.
Dude,
he don't
I was
even know
feeling
it's
it.
coming.
That's what's actually one of the moments where the way our building is structured was hilarious. Because Grandy's like Schefter, and I'm like communicating with him. And this is
I
all
can't
behind.
see
This is
him.
all happening behind his back.
Yeah.
He's just like, so this is why Trey can work in
felt
San
I was in your
Francisco.
shoes,
And
dude.
I mean, I think Trey could get some reps with the scout team,
I'm
and you know
like,
what? If
he's not on the team. He's not on the team anymore.
this guy's pointing south, and I'm like, wait, you just got back from Mexico. What's wrong with you? Another vacation? What are you doing?
It was wild. It was
Yeah.
memorable. It was a memorable moment, and it's crazy, man. I mean, here's another thing. You know, Ephraim and I talked about last night. I know people want to do this,
Yeah,
like
I'd love to do it.
well, the whole like, is this the worst pick of all time? And I
Because that's floating around on the national.
well, it's
They
hard.
botched it.
It's hard. They did, and that doesn't mean anything personal about Trey. Their return on investment was horrible, but you're seeing it like CBS did a list, the worst 10 draft picks of all time, and Trey was 6.
Jamarcus won.
Jamarcus 1. Leaf 2. I'm trying to remember.
Mandarich?
Achilles
Gotta
Smith.
be Mandarich.
Okay. Achilles Smith was 3.
The Black Knight.
Bosworth.
Lawrence Phillips was
Okay.
5, and I forget. 4 was Charles, the receiver to Detroit.
Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson.
Wow.
Okay, that was the top 5, and Ephraim at first was like, "That sounds about right." I go, but here I don't remember exactly how all those picks came together, but here's what I think: all 5 of those picks
We're dogs.
they were just teams who had that pick and picked it. Trey
Right.
Lance was 3 years of first round capital, toss in a third.
Oh no! So he.
And when
you're
you
at the
put
top.
it through that lens, how is
That's
there
why
a
everybody
worse?
running with it.
How is there a worse return on
There's not.
investment
Shasky tweeted it, and he was
ever?
right.
Ever? You know?
No, I mean it's
You're
fair.
right, man.
That's the crossover yesterday between Mark Willard, Dan Dibley, Daryl LaGrua-Johnson, and Matt Steinmetz. Joe Shasky, stop trolling my guy Lubman at this hour of the
He
day.
should be thrilled. Did you see what happened yesterday?
Oh, Kyle Harrison. Are you kidding me? For a guy with 2 first names, that was electric stuff. I have a whole thing.
I guess Harrison is a first name.
It is.
Yeah, no, that's. I didn't even think of that.
It's kind of a hoity-toity first name for the Pebble Beach kids, if you will.
Good
morning, Joe. How are you? This is the Cross Jover. It's been a rough morning for all of us here at 95.7.
I know. Waking up to Willard and Dibs kind of ruins my morning.
That's me. No. But we had some technical difficulties. I had a major echo. Hit us up on the chat. I don't think it's there anymore. I don't hear it in my ear anymore. That is, but major echo alert, not a major bag alert. But I think we moved past it, workshopped it, make sure the king has a nice mic when he comes in for the morning roast. But Joe Shasky joining me now for the crossover at 5:56, but that's all right. Kyle Harrison, 11 strikeouts, 6 1/3. Wow. That was the most fun game of the year.
I would say that is the most fun game we've had since Game 5 of 2021.
Yeah.
NLDS.
Not even close, really.
I mean, it was a moment in time where I could feel Giants fans in the Bay Area turn on their TVs and start to care about the Giants again. Yeah. It was one of those electric performances. I've got a couple of comps, at least in terms of mechanics, and then like the raw stuff of what we're seeing with Kyle Harrison. I mean, think about this. Logan Webb grew up in Sacramento, Giants fan. That's a great story.
He was an A's fan, but go on.
Kyle Harrison's like, 10:30 at night, 25-minute drive from Walnut Creek to the stadium. 35-minute drive if you're doing
De La Salle, dude.
I mean, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking cool. And to see all his family there and to see what he was doing, I thought it was absolutely awesome. He breathed life into the Giants. He breathed life into the Giants fan base. We started to care. It was an electric moment. Seeing him do that, it's not Lincecum. Lincecum's a comet. Those things come around once in a blue moon. But boy, that was a lot of fun. And here's the thing. A lot of people are going to point to the comparison to Bumgarner. Bumgarner did not have that kind of emotion.
No.
Not that kind of emotion. And for him to do that in front of the home crowd in his first ever start, it felt like a turning of the tide for optimism for Giants fans. And maybe I'm making too much of it. Maybe it's just a one-night performance. But you're starting to see visions of what this rotation could look like. Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, I like it.
No, well, and not any disrespect to Madison Bumgarner. I just don't think he had the stuff that this kid has either. Like, that's just saying something. Like, in Madison Bumgarner, borderline Hall of Famer. Like, he's that damn good. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he had that high cheese. Like, 99, maybe he was just amped up, but I'm pretty sure that's just where he's consistently at, 98, 99 with that fastball. He had that devastating splitter, that sweeper that we're seeing. It's just, he had everything. It was a total package. Now, what's it going to look like going forward with this team?
Yeah.
Is it just, that was great, that was nice. They're still right in it, Joe. Like, they're only a half game back. Like, is it still just everything's gravy at this point? Still play all the young guys? Because I saw Sam Lubman, and you guys have the podcast, obviously, Garlic Fries and Baseball. He's like, I don't need to see any of the old guys, all young guys going forward. I was like, okay.
There was a plan that
you could have done it all year, but you're still right in the thick of it.
No doubt, you are, and I understand. Look, there is merit in trying to chase the wild card. I'm not here to say that it's not. Like, I want to see Harrison get an opportunity in a September push.
High leverage stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that matters to me.
And it was, but
here's what doesn't matter.
The Reds are right in it. So that is a high leverage kind of a game yesterday. Still, I know it's August 28th.
But here's what doesn't do it for me. I'm not trying to see Austin Slater and Yaz, who's supposed to be coming back, and Mitch Haniger. Like, I'm listening to Susan Slusser, and she's like, well, they got to get Haniger back. No, we don't. You know what I watched last night? I watched a 21-year-old Luis Matos throw a guy out from right field. I haven't seen Yaz throw a guy out from right field in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, what are we doing? Like, 33-year-old journeyman Yaz or 21-year-old Luis Matos figure it out at the big league level?
Yeah.
He's batting 260. Let him continue to play. Meckler comes through with a big hit last night, driving in a run. I want to see the youngsters. See, and that's the thing. I actually think the youngsters give you a better chance to win.
Well, and they're just more fun to watch. Like, that's the ultimately, like, at this point, like, if the whole thing with the Giants, and that was the most fun win yesterday in 2 years, yes, I would like to see more of that kind of young guy. Like, I'm not saying everyone's going to be Kyle Harrison, but just that sort of youthful exuberance. We saw early on when Schmidt, started out hot, faded. Patrick Bailey started out very hot and faded a little bit, but he's still been money behind the plate. So very exciting stuff yesterday. Real quick before we break here, Red and Gold Summit tonight. What are some of the talking points? What are some of the things you're looking for tonight?
I just want to see the fans. I just want to see the fans.
Fieldwork Brewing Co. San Ramon.
Yeah, I just want to see the fans. Fieldworks Brewing House. I just want to see all the fans come out, say what's up. I'm gonna be rocking, a Niner jersey. I want to see what outfits you guys got on. But I just want to see the fans. I really don't. Not to disrespect any of our teammates here at 95.7 The Game. Like, without the fans, we don't have a station, and that's all I care about meeting tonight. So I really want to see all the fans.
Got it. Well, that's Joe Shasky. He's coming next with Bonte Hill, Morning Roast. You're not going to want to miss it. Giants, Niners, we got it all right here. 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7.